14-team college football playoff format is being socialized among major conference administrators currently. So socialized being the key word there. Everyone in this report made it very clear, hey, nothing is finalized. No pen is being put to paper. This is just what we're talking about when it comes to the future of the college football playoff. Because just so we're on the same page here, in 2026, that 12-team format may be looking a little bit different. Why? Because the TV contract's going to look different. There's no TV contract locked in, so there's no, format that's locked in just yet. There's also no timeline locked in, but you have to imagine here, 2026, right around the corner, we're sitting here almost a quarter of the way through 2024. They want to move sooner rather than later on getting a format together. So what would that look like for a 14-team playoff? We'll walk through it here. There would be 3 auto bids apiece for the Big Ten and the SEC. Makes sense. They're the teams that have, quite frankly, the highest level of top teams in their conference, and they also make a whole lot of money, so they're calling some shots here. We'll talk about that. 2 bids apiece for the ACC and the Big 12. They get 2 auto bids, all right? So already you're at 10 teams. 3 for the Big 10, 3 for the SEC, 2 for the ACC, 2 for the Big 12. You get 1 bid for the highest-ranked G5 team. Okay? 1 bid. You get 3 teams that get in that large bid. So the next 3 highest-ranked teams you'd have to believe are the ones that would end up in that 14-team playoff. So is this going to happen? Again, everyone's talking about, hey, being socialized. Everyone's very, very careful to not say anything specific around, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Just being socialized right now, okay? Is it going to happen, though? The answer is yeah, probably. It probably is. You want to know why? Because we've now opened Pandora's box. We have given a mouse a cookie. Give a mouse a cookie, it's going to want some milk. That's the way this whole thing is operating, because you have people that are operating, we've said this many, many times, operating from a bottom line point of view. They're not worried about the health of the sport. They're not worried about protecting specific rivalries. They might say they are, but then you look at what they're actually what they're actually doing when it comes to expanding the playoff and the integrity of the game. Is it going to happen? Probably so. Another reason why we think this is going to happen, there is too much power that is imbalanced from the Big Ten and the SEC. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. More power to the SEC and the Big Ten. But those are the 2 conferences that are holding all the cards, or the majority of the cards, rather, when you're sitting at the negotiating table. What are you going to say if the Big Ten and the SEC says, you know what, actually we want to go form our own kind of playoff. We're going to have our own Big Ten and SEC playoff. We'll crown our own champion that way. That's a whole lot of money leaving the room with those big brands and those conferences. So if you're the ACC and the Big 12 and the other conferences at the G5 level, and you still want to be able to take home a piece of that pie when it comes to the college football playoff and the national playoff picture, you say, okay, you know what? If you want to have your 6 teams in this 14-team playoff and it makes more money for everybody involved, cool. You hold the cards. You call that first shot. We'll take our 2 bids. We'll take our 1 bid, and then we'll do the 3 auto bid kind of thing, or the 3 at-large bids. So that's why this is happening. There is a complete imbalance of power across the board. And again, I'm not throwing any shade at the SEC or the Big Ten. I think they're operating exactly how you'd expect them to operate. They don't have any allegiance to the ACC if they're the SEC or the Big Ten. It's not their fault for those other conferences or for the G5. Like, they're operating in the best interest of their conference, which is, of course, their job. It's their job. So what we need here, and we've said this for a while now, there has never been a stronger need for regulation in the college football landscape than right now. Calendar shifting, tectonic plates are moving. We're having conversations around the playoff expanding and different automatic qualifying bids being given out. We need a commissioner. We need a governing body to put a lid on this thing. Because the reality is it going to stop at 14 teams? We thought it'd stop at 4 teams. We thought it would stop at 12 teams. And I say we very loosely in the sense that, like, that was the initial thought going into those negotiations was, could we expand? Yeah, what about 12? We're at 14 now. Tell you what, 18 would make you more money too. 24 would make you more money. If we don't have a lid on this thing, if there's no fence put up, there's no barrier put up for this thing to keep moving forward, it's going to keep expanding. Now, what number is that final resting place? I have no idea, but I don't think it's 14. I think you see dollar signs. I think you see more product, more revenue by playing more games, more inventory you can sell. I'm telling you what, man, like, how much money is enough money? The limit does not exist. Mean Girl style. So again, just so we have our permanent thought on record here, do we think this is a good idea? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. College football fans, We'll say this again now. College football fans throughout the course of history have grown to love the sport regardless of the postseason. We always appreciated bowl games. Now you got folks saying things like, oh, it's a meaningless bowl game. That term never existed 10 years ago. Right now it's in play. College football fans were all in when it was the AP poll era. They were fine crowning a champion that way. You want to go to the BCS championship game? I was in favor of that. I thought that was awesome. Okay, great. We'll have a BCS championship game. 14 playoff. Cool. We still love college football. Why? Because you have Auburn and Georgia playing on a Saturday afternoon, and it means the world to both teams. They're not playing for seeding. They are playing for their national title lives. Obviously, that national title lives verbiage kind of changes throughout the course of where those programs have been at, but you hear what I'm saying. The example stands the same. The regular season is what has always attracted college football fans to college football. The more you tinker with this sport and make it like other sports, I don't think you're going to lose fans per se, but you are going to drastically change the product that drew them there in the first place. So when you talk about the future of college football and the college football playoff, we need someone to put a lid on this thing. We need some kind of control, because right now it's a free-for-all, and you got a lot of players with a lot of big money right now that are holding all the cards, like I just mentioned, the Big Ten and the SEC, acting in their own interest. More power to them. Somebody has to come in and put some regulation on this thing. If I had to nominate somebody, Nick Saban just got himself a new job with ESPN, but I don't know what the hours per week demand is there, but yeah. Nick Saban, ball is in your court. We'd love to have you manage this whole thing. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.